All right. I think we are up and running. I test my loop settings since I haven't had this hooked up in a while. Let me switch over to the drawing stream layout and we will get started with today's stream. All right. Just like we've done on previous streams, I'm going to spend some time creating a BGM track to put in the background while I am drawing today. With the recently released Stream Sounds collection, I need to start slowly accumulating another set of miscellaneous background tracks to put together. And so I'm going to work on that first, and we will proceed from there. And hopefully the construction noise outside of my building across the street doesn't pick up on my loop, but I guess I'm going to find out when I record it. Well, I don't think it's picking up on the mic. I guess we'll see. So let's see. I was thinking of some ideas for beats. And I'm going to lay down a kind of more irregular rhythm and then see if I can layer the rest of the percussion on top. And then we'll sort of add in bass lines and everything else and see what sort of evolves. So I was thinking kind of like a 3/4, maybe like a modified 3/4, something like a that is one measure repeat. And that is decently loud. I might have to drop that slightly and back off from the mic so I'm not necessarily right up on it. So what I want to do is add hats and snare in between this sort of staggered rhythm series of kicks. 5 kicks. And we can add a little bit of reverb. Maybe about there. Maybe quarter notes. I think I want to layer another type of snare on top of the one I have. I do inwards K on top of the outwards K. I will keep the playback about here while I'm creating the BGM, and I'll drop the whole mix down significantly so it's in the background. It's be easier for me to hear while I'm creating all the layers. I want to go back to distorted basses again, using guitar to bass and maybe lo-fi. Creates that fuzz, that sort of staticky fuzz. But let's see if we can do sort of a moving bass line instead of just sustained tones. And so I have dynamics off to do the bass, so you won't be able to understand me for a minute while I try and do the bass line. Hey, real quick, I see Iconic Boar popping by the chat to say hi. What's up, Iconic? Thanks for stopping in to say what's up. I hope you are having a good evening. Still trying to figure out this BGM situation here, but I'm sure I will catch you later. What I'm messing around with here is a combination of the guitar to bass, filter effects over just a hum note, and then the lo-fi at the same time. And I'm trying to find a balance because right now the low end is competing with the distortion, and it's causing the actual melody that I'm creating to get kind of obscured, and I don't want that. Once I find the balance, I should be able to get everything recorded. Or I'll take the distortion off. Hey, Penguin's here. Penguin says, "Hi, Raku, it's been a while." Hey, what's up, Penguin? It has been a while, man. How are you doing? I am working on this BGM for the drawing stream here, but it is good to see you, my friend. I think going no distortion is going to work. I just cut the loop off a couple seconds in the measure too early, and it started looping. So I'm gonna keep the bass where it is and try and do that again. About right there. Yeah, I'll do it. Alright. Took forever, but turns out the key was getting closer to the mic, so it could pick up on the distortion a little bit better. Penguin says, "Doing good, just finished up my second semester of college and dealing with work drama. I have so many horror stories." This is still in the service industry, I assume. Well, I hope college is going well. I hope you are adjusting to the new environment and academic pace. And acing your exams. Let me think of a couple other things I want to add on top of the mix, and then we'll probably roll with this track for now and keep it in the background. Penguin says, "Yep, same place. College has been hard but fulfilling. Gonna miss my math teacher. Such a funny guy and actually gets my references." It is always good when you can kind of vibe with the teacher. Enjoy every single one of those that you get. Hey, Wazzy's here. What's up, Wazzy? I thought you were just screaming into my ear in Discord. Welcome to the drawing stream. We're just about done with BGM, and then we will get started on drawing stuff for the day. I think what I want to do is mess around with that filter granular distortion or granular delay effect that I've used a couple times to create that sort of kind of plinking melodic synth in the background. So I'm going to turn on filter and granular delay, and you guys won't be able to understand me for a minute. surprised I was able to do that first try. Edward says, I think a straight hat line would sound good on this. What rhythm on a hat line are you thinking, Edward? Are you thinking eighth quarter note, or 16th notes? Because right now it's got kind of a staggered hat run alongside the kind of weird rhythm of the kicks. But I could put a hat line on another track and then toggle it on and off. So that sometimes it has the full line of hat, and sometimes it just has what you hear now. Because I can go quarter notes and just make it sustained in quarter notes, and that would sound like something like this. Edward says, I think it would be eighths. Well, he says, sounds kind of echoey, like you're beatboxing in a gymnasium after a school. Just regular me talking shouldn't sound echoey. There's no reverb on right now. It's just dynamics and EQ. So I'm thinking about Edward's suggestion on the hat line. So eighth notes would be, let's see, be something like, it would, I wonder if I could do that without it interfering with the kind of staggered one now, because it's essentially adding in multiple extra hats in between the ones that are already there. You can try it. That's kind of an interesting effect. If I don't make it super loud in the mix so that it interferes. Now it makes the hats kind of sound like there's more of them. I guess we can leave it there for now. When I do a final mix of this, I'll have to think about if I wanted to mix it up or not. Unfortunately, the original hat line is not recorded on a separate track. It's all part of the rhythm. So if I go like this, it's looped in with the rhythm. If it was separated, it'd be a little easier to work with. Penguin says, have to get back to work. Had fun. All right, dude. Don't work too hard. Study harder than you work. All right, let me drop this entire mix so it's in the background. All right, I'm going to leave it there for now. All right, what are we doing today? As the caption suggests up at the top, we are going back to experimenting around with concept ideas and general kind of freehand stuff that I might be able to use in other content. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to draw specifically today, I realized it has been a hot minute since I worked on any Homeworlder designs. So I think it might be fun to just do some free sketching and take another look at the Homeworlder species and think about some things for different designs. I do need to scan the concept art for my Homeworlder form, That is on my list of things to do. But that's not going to be something I actively draw on stream. I think I'll start by working on a real simple sketch primary and come up with kind of a semi-neutral pose to use as a base, and then we'll actually start sketching out details for an actual fully fleshed out design. I haven't drawn one of these in quite some time, so I want to get sort of back into the swing of practice. I think I'm going to go for a neutral standing pose. The point of this isn't to necessarily convey dynamic movement or anything. It's more just to get a good reference so that I can work on details instead of sort of like different poses and whatnot. Edward says, I was away for a second. What are we concepting? We are returning to Homeworlder concept sketches, something we haven't done in a very long time. I think I'm working a little bit too big for scale here. We'll shrink that down. I'm going to start with the basic shapes and primaries like I've done in the past, and then if I end up doing more than one of these tonight, then I can work off of this base and not have to sort of redo the neutral pose here. The head's definitely too big. I could also do things like adjust the proportions for scale. If I wanted to focus on different sort of limb to body proportions, and I can mess around with that as I need to. Again, this is just supposed to be a base to work from. I'm not going to worry too much about the shape of the feet here. I'll most likely adjust that depending on what I want to do for shapes. We'll keep it sort of rough right now. Same thing for the arms. I think that'll work. What we'll do is we'll leave that in the background as a base, and now I'm going to actually start sketching out some character-specific details using this really rough pose base as a reference. And we're going to zoom in for this. See what kind of variations on the crown we can do. That might be helpful if I pull up one of my older concept sheets that we worked on in previous streams so I don't duplicate any of my design ideas. I'll grab the most recent one I can find. We did several. Okay. I'll probably flip back and forth between this window and that one every once in a while.
Money on my mother, mine. Cop 5 haircuts at the same time. White gold pants, jet ski made of wine. Foie gras bust of Albert Einstein. Get money.
I need to change my sound settings. Mysterious Phoenix, thanks for subbing, dude. That should be coming out of my headphones, not my speakers. There we go. Right, now I can hear my own alerts in my ears, and then it shouldn't be feeding back on my mic. Yeah. Thanks for the 2 months. Wow, Mysterious Phoenix. Hope you continue to enjoy your stay. We can go for a little longer hair on this one. Let's see what kind of plating we do here. Seems like I went a little bit more simple on these designs. That's fine. We'll sort of experiment a little bit for this one. Hey, Sourlad's here. Sourlad redeemed save reminder. Thank you, Sourlad. I will definitely need someone to make sure I'm constantly saving my work. As I've stated previously in other streams, I have a notorious problem getting sucked into whatever I'm doing and then not paying attention to how often I'm saving. And then the rare occasion where something crashes and lose all my work. It's never a good thing. Guess I'm going for sort of a more 3/4 view here. Now, thinking about the lower body positioning, I think I'll more or less stick with the orientation of the limbs on the primary, but I'm going to change the shape a little bit. We can kind of mess around with the sort of orientation of the feet as well. Wazzy says, I am back. I have learned I am bad at pizza. Like making pizza or eating pizza or ordering pizza? In what manner of pizza are you bad at, Wazzy? And how bad could it possibly be? Alright, I think we're going to go shorter-ish toes, but they'll have that same sort of ridged texturing that I've done on the previous ones. Sourlad says pizza sauce. We will have to let Wazzy explain what she means when she says she's bad at pizza. Maybe she's bad at eating it. Like she eats pizza from the sides instead of from the front or the back. We'll do the same sort of ridging and patterning on the thighs. Wazzy says, so what happened was it was a very specific type of flatbread pizza from Unsponsored Meal Program. Okay, so this is a pizza you're preparing. I've never done one of those meal prep service type things. I've done the ones where the food is already made and you just have to reheat it. But I've never done the ones where you cook it from scratch. Continuation, Wazzy says, and it was very fancy and very intricate, and Matt was in the office today, so I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Uh-oh. Words spoken moments before disaster. And Wazzy says, and to make a long story short, it is a recoverable level of burnt. Well, if it's recoverable, that would be good. Unless you meant an unrecoverable amount. And Wazzy says, also, I may have missed 2 whole steps. You know, if Matt wasn't already home, and I also burnt myself. If Matt wasn't already home, you had the perfect opportunity for a steamed ham situation and just ordered like a Domino's pizza or something. But I believe he has already returned from work, so you can't do that. But the real question is, can you salvage it? Or is it irreparably burned? Like, is it a top layer type situation, or do you burn the whole thing? The edges are burned, but not completely along the entire surface. I'm guessing. If so, then it's not a total loss. Wazzy says the middle's okay. Well, maybe you can cut the middle out. Get rid of the burnt parts you can't eat. Wazzy says, what's the worst you've messed up cooking? Across my entire career, I have food poisoned myself once. It was a very, very long time ago when I was still in Earth School. I think there might have been some cross-contamination. I think it was fried chicken. If you're talking about personal, not work, yeah, probably that. I'm trying to think if I've ever irreparably screwed up a meal to the point where I couldn't, eat it. Usually if it's something you're cooking and, you over or under season, you can adjust for that. And I generally don't bake a ton of things. I'm trying to think. When I eventually start learning to bake, I'll probably have a lot more stories of screwing up many things, since baking is very specific in a lot of ways. It doesn't take much to completely hose up a recipe, and then you can't really recover it if you screw up baking. So failing, another example I could think of, probably the worst one would be, unintentionally poisoning myself. But again, that was a long time ago. That was probably 12 years ago. I'm generally pretty careful about handling food and making sure, I wash my hands constantly in the kitchen. If you ever see me cook, you'll see me wash my hands probably 500 times before I'm done. And that is a holdover of working in a kitchen where you literally do that all day long. Sourlet says, think birds would enjoy burnt pizza? They might. Wazzy adopts a firm stance against birds, apparently. I thought it was rabbits. That is a good point, Sour Lad. They do have Canadian geese up there, and Canadian geese are jerks. I consider them the Karens of the bird world, in that they seem like they're always pissed off and miserable. Which, when you think about it, is really unlike the stereotype for most things in Canada. Everything except the birds are very pleasant and and nice and mild-mannered. At least I'm led to believe. Let's see, have I done spikes? Not on this one. I see sour ladder deem dehydrate. I will drink some water. To follow the primary a little bit for the shape of the arms. Maybe go not quite the same shape. I'm going to make the fingers a little bit shorter. Remembering our basic Homeworlder concept exploration way back at the beginning. Homeworlders have kind of proportionally long arms compared to their legs. You put the same sort of spiky spur looking things on the forearms as well. I guess my question for Wazzy on the topic of the pizza that she was working with, what kind of flatbread pizza was it? Like a margarita, which is just, cheese and sauce, or did it have other toppings? I'm going to have this arm going out a little bit more compared to the primary. Wazzy says it was butternut, squash, onion, feta, and stuff. Oh, vegetable pizza. That sounds interesting. I guess as long as all of the other stuff didn't get totally incinerated, you should be fine. Sarlad says, hey Wazzy, you got a slice of soda to pair with your bottle of pizza? 2-liter pizza? I forget who from the crew was known for making that mistake, because it hasn't come up in a while, but gotta make sure and get your 2 liters of pizza. On the topic of sodas, since where I live we call them sodas and we don't call them pops or cokes. That's always been kind of weird to me. I've seen on a couple of Wazzy streams it brought up a couple times. I can't remember who it was. I'm sure it's one of the regulars. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But the running joke about the space flavored soda, I looked up and that's an actual product. Has anyone actually tried that? Does anyone know what this space, whatever, is it Coke or Pepsi? I don't remember. Whatever it is, has anyone have tried it? I'd be really curious from an actual flavor standpoint what that product tastes like and why it's apparently such a big deal. I've never seen it on the shelves in a store here. Wazzy says, yeah, it's Starlight Coke. Matt's had it. What does it taste different? I should be asking him directly, I guess, since you don't drink soda, but Starlight Coke. Like, what's the flavor profile? When I think of the Cosmos, I don't normally think of a sugary, diabetes-inducing drink or flavor. Wazzy says, to quote, it's okay at best, not good, not bad. It exists, would not purchase, but would drink if given to me. Okay, but what's the flavor? Like, what does it taste like? Did they give it, like... Well, it wouldn't be vanilla. They already have vanilla Coke. This quote-unquote Starlight marketing thing. Is it even flavored differently? Starlight asks, so Wazzy, would you drink a pina colada? I like pina coladas. I don't like getting caught out in the rain, but I do like pina coladas. It's a nice summery drink. A drink on a hot day near a pool. I'm guessing Wazzy's going to say no because she doesn't like coconut. Because she's weird. Coconut is delicious. Clarification on the flavor profile. In quotes, like vanilla berry kind of deal that mixes in a way that doesn't taste like vanilla berries or Coke. Huh. Alright. Vanilla berry-ish flavor. Doesn't sound awful. It also doesn't sound very distinct. Because you have like a vanilla cherry Coke. I'm saying this as a person who doesn't drink soda, largely. And it's not because I can't. I can't drink caffeinated soda, but generally I don't want the sugar. Starlight says coconut and pineapple for pina colada. It's a very tropical tasting drink. I don't know how you can possibly say no to that. You want to talk about hard to describe soda flavor profiles for those who might be old enough to remember, and maybe some people aren't. I remember when Surge was a thing, because I did like it, but it had a really difficult to describe flavor. Kind of citrusy, but not like a Sprite lemon lime type flavor. I liked it. I kind of missed the boat when they briefly brought Surge back. It was also pretty caffeinated, so I don't think I can really drink it now. Starlight says, Fanta's Pina Colada looks like ranch soda. The white, like that kind of off-white color. I've heard was it Uncle Lester or whatever's, the weird soda company. Their ranch one, I've heard tastes like soap. I watched well-known fighting game enthusiast Maximilian dude and his friends try that. That was one of them. And they said it didn't taste like the dressing. They just said it tasted like weird detergent. They also tried, I think it was sweet corn soda. That looked painful. I would not want to try that. There was another one. It was beef jerky. There's like a plain beef jerky one and like a chocolate beef jerky one. Yeah, I watched it physically inflict physical and psychological damage on those guys, and they tried it. Did not look like a fun time. Walsey says, do not want another Lester's soda. Chicken wing was bad enough. Sweet corn looked bad. All of them looked pretty bad. There's another one they tried. I don't remember if it was by the same company. What was it called? It was called like Rocket Piss. Oh, let me look it up if I can reach my keyboard. Oh, butterscotch soda. Branding isn't great, but maybe it tastes okay. I like butterscotch. In a super sweet, concentrated, carbonated form, I don't know if I'd like it that much, but... It's tough to go wrong with a name like Rocket Piss. All right. Let's take a look at our sketch here. See if there's anything we want to adjust before I look at doing a line art layer. Starlad says chocolate soda is a mistake. Have I tried chocolate soda? Not that I can remember in recent memory. Chocolate is not the type of flavor that would really carbonate well. That's the thing. Like chocolate milks or milkshakes or stuff like that, you get kind of that smoothness of the flavor, but for something carbonated, you get that kind of harsh abrasiveness to it. That's not what I would think would pair well with chocolate. I know one of those sodas was like chocolate bacon, I think it was. That was one of them. Looked pretty bad. Alright, I'm going to zoom out. We'll hide the base primary. I'm going to rotate this thing a little bit. Wazzy says, okay, gonna bounce for a bit, be back later. Alright. Good luck with your pizza. Thanks for dropping by. I'll probably be on for another hour or so. Depending on how long it takes to ink and color this, I might work on some more character stuff after this one. Alright, need to get a tail up in here. I see Sarah Lad redeemed another hydrate. Very well. Let me see if I can do a switch to the BGM. Sort of change things up a little bit. This is beat repeat, doing sort of a reverse thing on the sound, which I don't normally mess around with that. This is Slicer, giving us sort of a kind of broken up delay. That's not a bad effect. Right, turn it, if I back it off a little bit, we'll get a sort of a stuttering beat, but it won't cut off and sound really distracting. I see. Sorry, I redeemed a save reminder. Thank you. I have literally saved twice this entire time. Once the first time you reminded me, and once again. If I take off Slicer but add a lo-fi filter over the whole thing, it is kind of interesting. It'll make it really subtle. And I think I'm going to take it off the beat. I'll turn the distortion down a little so it's not quite as aggressive. I think I'm just going to leave lo-fi on for now. It's not dramatically different. I do like the fuzz distortion on it. Sour Lad says, ever tried popcorn with hot sauce? I have not tried popcorn with hot sauce, but I did pick up from YouTube. It was Brian David Gilbert. He had a recipe video on his channel for something he called petcorn, which is popcorn mixed with a type of product called Lao Gan Ma, which is a spicy chili crisp. You see it in most Asian stores, and a lot of Asian restaurants have it as like a condiment. It's like a chili oil with this sort of savory crisp and crushed chili peppers mixed in. And so you pop the popcorn and you add a little bit of like a chili pepper powder, and then you add that stuff in there, and then you make the whole thing spicy. And because it's not watery or water based as a sauce, it doesn't cause it to get soggy. That would be the risk of using regular hot sauce on popcorn. If it's got water in it, it's gonna just soak into the popcorn and make it gross. You could try and pop the popcorn in the hot sauce, but you're gonna need oil, and then it's probably gonna splatter really messily. I don't know. If you have a good recipe for hot sauce popcorn, I'm all ears, because I do love me some hot sauce. Alright, I think we're good to try some line art here and actually ink this thing. We'll save our progress. We're definitely gonna need a smaller line weight. Alright, so that says, I just have my popcorn ready and done and put but a dash of hot sauce on it. Okay. I guess if you eat it quickly enough, it's not really going to get soggy. What kind of hot sauce is your go-to, Sour Lad? Because I can talk about hot sauces all day long. In fact, I just ordered some from the Heatiness website, the folks affiliated with the popular Hot Ones show. And I bought a couple bottles of 13 Angry Scorpions because that stuff is delicious. I'd say I have probably about 15 bottles of different types of hot sauces in my refrigerator. My favorite thing is to get fried chicken and put hot sauce on my fried chicken. Sour Lad says Goya hot sauce. I've tried other Goya products, but I've never tried their hot sauce. Is it similar to like a Tabasco? A lot of my go-tos are pretty decently spicy hot sauces, but if something has a good flavor, it doesn't need to be painfully hot. And I say that as a big fan of one of the more common ones, sriracha. Sriracha is not very hot to me, at least not the blended one. The one with the actual chili pepper chunks is a bit hotter. That will creep up on you. Sour Lad says watery, spicy lime sauce. That's what Goya tastes like. Tabasco, Chipotle Tabasco, and Tapatio were also good standbys and go-tos for me for a while. And I started getting like the really sort of specific hot sauces with, you know, all the crazy pepper blends. They're like several 100,000 on the Scoville scale. But they're good on things like chicken. Sarah said it's been a while since I tried it, but it's something like that. I see. Do like kind of tangy sauces. There's nothing wrong with that. The 13 Angry Scorpions Jekyll and Hyde one that I just ordered some more of is actually like a barbecue sauce. It's classified as a hot sauce, but the consistency and flavor is very similar to barbecue sauce, and it's got this kind of sweet flavor and a pretty potent heat, and it's good on just about everything. I made burgers a couple nights ago, which I might make one tonight, so I don't feel like spending a lot of time cooking. But what I did was I mixed that really spicy barbecue type hot sauce with mayonnaise, make a spicy barbecue mayo, put that on the burger and use it to dip my fries. It was pretty good. But as a result, I went through a whole bunch of the hot sauce, and so I bought some more. Another hot sauce that I really like that's been kind of difficult to find. I forget the company that makes it. I think it's somewhere in Canada, but the sauce is called Ex Horesco, and it's a pretty potent sauce, but it's also kind of like that barbecue sauce in that it's got kind of a sweet, almost fruity taste, and then the heat kicks in. It's very good. That was also featured on Hot Ones at some point. But they don't sell it directly from their site anymore. We'll have to do some research on where to find it. Actually, I don't think that was a Canadian place. They might be in the States somewhere. But that was pretty good. I'm always down to give recommendations for things like hot sauces. I tell people, feel free to hit me up if you want me to recommend something. Some of those specialty sauces aren't cheap, but they're very good. And they make good condiments. Zarlad says, oh, like those spicy hot sauces with pineapple infused? Or what's called chili jam? The one I'm talking about, that ex fresco, doesn't have any actual fruit in it. I believe what gives it the sort of sweet counter flavor is like an apple cider vinegar. So to some people it tastes kind of vinegary. To me it tastes almost kind of like a fruity flavor. I think it's just a combination of the peppers and then the other flavorings. It uses something called like a 7-pot primo pepper, which I have no idea where that lands on the scale. But it's very different from kind of the more acidic or kind of harsh flavor of hot sauces. But still, you know, decently hot. It just doesn't have an abrasive flavor. Both the 13 Angry Scorpions and the ex fresco are good for that. And I did buy the Last Dab. I think it's the Last Dab Triple X from Hot Ones. It's hot. It's hot, but I don't think it's quite to the level that some of the guests play it up as. Maybe their heat tolerances are just different, but I've never had an experience where I've, you know, had to like run screaming out of the room and go throw up. Last year or so, my brother and I got a set of the hot sauces from the Hot Ones. A bunch of their really hot ones. We did them all in a row with chicken wings. We did it over a video call. And these are like the Million, Scoville, Ghost Pepper, Reaper, and whatnot sauces. And they were hot, but at no point did we feel like we were going to have to like start chugging milk or, you know, go puke our guts out. But some people just hit differently with spicy things, and their tolerance is different. And I mentioned before, but one of my favorite YouTubers is Charles White, aka Moist Critical, and he sucks at dealing with spicy stuff, and it's just funny to me. But I've seen other people react the same way to stuff that it's just the way their, I guess, genetics are. And it sucks, because I really like spicy food. It keeps things from being boring. Okay, let's keep working our way down the body here. Starland says, I remember Gordon Ramsay's lemon lime juice meme. Gordon Ramsay's had sort of a lot of memes throughout his time as a public personality. I think he's an interesting guy, but I like his non-personality based stuff more than like your Hell's Kitchen, you know, crazy screaming his head off, swearing at people. I think that's just sort of played up for TV. Hearing him talk about actual food and food culture, I think, is much more interesting. Adults versus kids. I can't remember how old I was when I started getting into spicy foods. I didn't grow up around a lot of spicy foods. Like, my folks on Homeworld aren't big spicy cuisine connoisseurs, really. It's not like we always had different hot sauces and just spicy stuff in general. Maybe it's more an Earth school. Alright, let's see. We're making our way down to the lower part of the image here. I'm going to start thinking about color palettes and color schemes soon. Not quite there yet. While this is, I walk into you drawing some junk. The memes make itself. Junk is ever present. It's bound to happen sooner or later. It should be noted that Homeworlders don't have external junk, so Twitch can't ban me for TOS. And even if they did, this is an educational stream. I will ask, since Wazzy has returned, have you been working on Clip Studio at all recently? I know you were practicing and getting a feel for learning the program just to get familiar with it, but have you been making any progress learning Clip Studio? And Wazzy says, I did some, I'm not very good at it. Well, it just takes practice. Coming from something like Photoshop, navigation in Clip Studio is a little bit different, but having not really got into the whole customization of hotkeys and the interface stuff in Photoshop, at its base defaults, I like the way Clip Studio interface works. It's a little bit easier to use, and I like the fact that the default scheme right click is your eyedropper tool in Clip Studio. That's really nice. Well, this says also I don't have a lot of personal draw time. It's usually balls to wall work. Yeah, I hear that. That's why we're doing this on stream today. But you could always try and experiment around with Clip Studio on your drawing streams just to learn. If anything, that'll force you to learn a lot faster. And if any of us other people who know the program are there, we can help you if you're having trouble navigating it. I'm trying to think while I'm working here in Clip Studio if there's any helpful tips or sort of best practice things that I learned using the program. If I think of any, I'll mention them here. I think my interface is pretty close to the default. I need to go figure out where the color history thing is in this version. I used to use that a lot. It's probably hidden in a tab that I don't have visible. Wazzy says, I slam my undo button like a sociopath. Does your tablet have mappable keys on it? I had to set that up manually on this particular machine. In fact, did I? I guess I had to have done that once I got everything migrated over, but I was thinking when the computer died, but I didn't have to reinstall everything, so I didn't change my settings. I have Photoshop and Clip Studio configured very similarly. A couple of the base keys don't do the same thing, so the buttons don't map necessarily the same way on my tablet, but I like having my undo button on demand right on the left of me here. I'm going to assume you did the same thing for yours, because when I'm drawing on my desk with my tablet, my keyboard's not within range. I have to slide across my desk in order to get to it. Wazzy says, I got you a drawing present. Did you know? Are they artist gloves? Did you get tired of me using my socks setup that I showed you? For the rest of the stream. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Wazzy says maybe. Well, I'll definitely use them. Save reminder. Thanks, Sour Lad. Wazzy says, I use socks on my hands. Look, these are old socks that had holes, and rather than throw them out, all I did was wash them, make sure they were clean, and then I cut finger holes in them so that I can have something that won't smear my tablet whenever I'm drawing. And it didn't cost me a dime. Starlight says, wait, what? You've seen those artist gloves that they have that cover the fingers and they make it so they can use tablets easier? Yeah, I have that. They're just socks. And I see Wazzy has redeemed a Raku Faktu. Let me get the list. I sent Wazzy a picture of my drawing gloves set up before, and she shamed me. Very rude. I told her not everyone has 200,000 subscribers on YouTube and 10,000 subscribers on Twitch. And Wazzy says, I wear actual gloves, you know, the kind that come with the tablet. My tablet did not come with any gloves. My tablet came with debt. I don't know how much your tablet was, but I use a Cintiq, and that was not cheap. Okay, here's your Raku Faktu. I may have mentioned this a long time ago, but I know I haven't mentioned it recently. My favorite NES game is an old title called Blaster Master. And I'm heavily considering playing the recent remake games on Steam. There's a third one that I haven't played that came out last summer, and I've been considering playing them all on stream here for you folks, because the first two I have played, and they're very fun games. Ah, Sarlad's taken off. See you later, Sarlad. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by and reminding me to save. Wazzy asked, what is that? What is what? What are you inquiring about, Wazzy? Ah, the remakes for Blaster Master. I gotcha. The remakes I'm talking about, they're called Blaster Master Zero. They're not remasters, to answer your question. They're a reboot and remake of the whole series. It was done by Inti Creates, and there's 3 of them. I played the first 2, and they're very fun. They're a full like reimagining of the series with like actual cutscenes and characters. The original Blaster Master has no story, no discernible story really. Yeah, they're fun games though. Maybe once we get through Pokemon. One sec. My phone is pinging me. Alright, I guess I'll finish the other foot and then go back into the arms. I don't know why I'm inking in this order. No particular reason. I'm gonna have to do another sweep through and do kind of a cleanup on the line art. We'll sort of do that at the end once I get everything inked in here. Alright. Just have to do both arms. And I still need to think about color palettes. I have no idea what color I'm going to make this character. I also don't know what gender this character is. It does not really matter for the sake of concept work. It's like we've talked about on previous streams. Gender differences are not always physical with homeworlders. Same texturing on the digits for the fingers as the toes. And we'll do the other side. I'm probably going to use that other reference sheet as ideas for color paletting here. I definitely don't want to duplicate the same series of colors. We'll look at that for this. I want to at least get flats done today. If I can get the color flats done after getting the line art inked and clean, then that'll be fine. Okay, there's the other arm. Get the tail inked in, and then can hide the primary and work on doing cleanup. The line art. I don't think that's going to take very long. All right, let's zoom out and do sort of a sweep. And also see if there's any glaring things I need to fix with the line art. We'll hide that. Now we're gonna go top to bottom, fix any missing sections, overflow lines, whatnot. This is probably the more tedious part of the overall process, but it's okay. Thinking about upcoming content, which I usually try and mention while I'm doing something that doesn't require a lot of explanation, like just clean up. The next stream is going to be this weekend, unless something unexpected happens. It should be Sunday in the afternoon. My plan is to do a jam stream and spend some time practicing and working on new ideas for BGM tracks. So I will definitely announce on Twitter when I'm doing that. It'll most likely be sometime in the early afternoon Sunday. After that, next week's schedule should be a lot more normal. Now that I don't have to plan around freaking construction at my house, then I should be able to set everything on Sundays like I normally do. And we will see what we're gonna do. Thinking about getting back into Monster Hunter. It's been a while. That'll largely depend on how much time I get to play Elden Ring, since I can't be playing those two concurrently with their different color control schemes. But that may be in the mix. I might be starting up a new collaborative playthrough series. I think I've talked about it before, but I will wait till we actually get that underway, and then we'll talk more about it. Okay, let's move down to the arms on cleanup here. Okay, we can work our way down to the legs. I'm hoping, well, I guess we'll find out. Last few concept designs I've done here in Clip Studio, I've been trying to remind myself to do my inking and line art on vector layers versus raster, since it tends to be a bit cleaner and it can scale without the anti-aliasing getting all fuzzy. But the weird thing about vector, to demonstrate, and I don't know if Wazzy is still here, but I know you're used to working in a vector-based thing in Flash. Clip Studio lets you do that as well, and it's pretty good for, again, doing line art, because it does everything basically by a mathematical formula. It's what vector calculations are. But if I were to draw something on this layer, this is a vector line art layer, if I delete something, it is essentially recalculating the stroke here, and it's adjusting it automatically. versus if it was a raster layer and it was rendered, it would have the anti-aliasing sort of smudge when I'm deleting out stuff. And by the same token, something I've run into using this program, if you're doing your line art in raster instead of vector, and you do something like scale it or flip it around or rotate it, if you do that with vector, you get much less distortion around the line because it's basically just calculating it by formula. If we were to do a raster layer, and do the same thing, you can already see that the edges, just with this basic pen, are a little bit more fuzz, and the aliasing is kind of weird. Likewise, if I just delete out stuff like that on a raster layer, you can see it's still fuzzy around the edges like that. You can sort of fiddle around with the anti-aliasing levels in Clip Studio, but it still doesn't come out super clean. Like if I turn it all the way up to no anti-aliasing, then it looks like this, which works okay. There's basically no smoothing around the edges of the line art. But if I take it and transform it and like rotate it, it's a little bit tough to see unless I zoom all the way in, but you can see the edges getting super fuzzy just by rotating it, and that's because it's in raster instead of vector. So as a result, from what I've read, a lot of people just do their stuff in vector in this program to keep it from getting too smudged, especially if they want to go and mess around with scaling or rotation or transformation commands. And I only learned that recently. This is what an un-anti-aliased vector line looks like. And by the same token, you can do a lot more to it and not have to worry about it smudging. Just clean up the edges on the toes. Yeah, I think what I will do today is get flats. The flat color palette filled and ready to go. And then next time when we do another concept study or character study, I'll do the shading. Okay, let's take a look. Zoom out here. We'll save our progress up to this point. I'm going to do this last section with my mouse because I can form select a little easier when I have a keyboard. Just need to make sure I don't flip my tablet up too high and obscure my camera. All right, looking back at this one, our base character design was this mix of sort of earth tones and like lighter orange skin. Then we had a purple alt and a blue one. We could do a mix of greens for this one. Could do a base color scheme of kind of a pale green. I'll set this as a reference, drop in a color layer, and now I can basically form select everything. There. I take my selection and increase the selection size by 1 pixel. That usually will get the bounding far enough out that there's less gaps and empty spaces I have to touch up later. Like so. For the crown, we'll go for a distinct color here. Maybe we can go sort of darker blue. Yeah, that works. For the plating, let me pull up one of the other character sheets for Homeworlder study we've done. And I'm trying to avoid duplicating my color schemes. This one, we had a purple one. This one, maybe we can go like a darker blue-green. Let's fill that and see what it looks like. Oh, that's not bad. Same thing for the neck. Now these mineral sections, we'll give those a distinct color, maybe sort of a off green yellow. And then for the fleshy inner joints, maybe we can like a dark magenta-ish, kind of a off flesh tone color. Have I done that already? Does not look like it. And then for the digits, I'm gonna go for like a yellow orange here. We'll give some contrast. Do the same thing on the fingers. If you ever want to, from a conceptual perspective, if you want to get a feel for the sort of texturing and style on Homeworlder digits, like the feet and toes, the closest thing I could think of in shape and even coloring to some extent would be a centipede's tail. If you just Google what that looks like, for especially the larger terrestrial centipedes, that is similar texture and shape to Homeworlder digits. All right, hair. What have we got for hair? A darker color? Might have to experiment with a couple different shades till I find what I like. That's not bad. Now for the eye. Yellow. Now let's do sort of a final check on the color palette and the filled sections. We'll do it sort of like a spot touch up here, just in case there's any missing sections that didn't get filled when I assigned the colors. Again, because we're working in vector, it's a lot easier to color fill. On a raster line art layer, you tend to have more of an issue with there being gaps and small spots that don't get filled, but not so much here. I'll probably go in and do another sweep when I eventually go in to shade this thing next time. Now what we can do is get the entire palette in view and see if there's anything we want to change with levels to come up with our final color palette for the subject here. Let's see, hue, saturation. Drop the hue way down. Get sort of a kind of a muddy green texture. Yeah, there's some good potential alt palettes in here. Ooh, that one's not bad. Maybe a little bit lighter. What I'll probably end up doing is, just like both the other character sheet references I pulled up to look at the previous ones we've done, I'll probably do 3 alt color palettes just like I did for that one, and then experiment around with these. Because yeah, you could do some fun stuff with just messing around with the levels. Wow, look at that one. I upped the saturation way higher so everything is much brighter. But if we wanted to go full furry OC neon color palette, we could. I'm going to leave this one the way it is for now. I think it's fine. Let's save this. the next time we do a Homeworlder study, we'll finish this one and do the shading, and maybe what I will do if I feel like it'd be interesting is duplicate the model and work on an outfit rather than do it on a whole new creature model. Actually take this one and work on an outfit, like an armor or clothing set, and sort of mess around with ideas there. We can close these. And I think that's going to do it for today's drawing stream. Basically, this was a reason for me to get the drawing tablet out and do some practice, because, again, it's been a while since I've sat down and drawn anything. I'm working on a couple side projects, and I need to be sharp for those. So at some point in the future, let me pull up one of our other ones we worked on. This is what I use to create stream sounds. Real simple title card art for that. This one, our male model. At some point, I want to go back and start designing an outfit for this character, and then kind of similarly, like we're doing here, I want to go back to that female model that I was working on before and actually decide on an outfit and draw that, since that one was further along in the process than the male model one, and I don't want to start too many of these before I actually finish something. But we will definitely plan on revisiting those other ones in the future. Well, let's see. Let me see who's online to potentially raid. Ah, Moo's online again. I have not been to Moo's stream in a bit, so we will go ahead and go raid them. So let me pause this, make sure everything's set up. But once again, thanks to the folks who stopped by and hung out. Today was a bit more of a low-key, simple stream. Again, more of a practice and grind session. But we will get back together this weekend. Again, plan is Sunday. I will make sure and mention it on Twitter for a jam stream. But until then, once again, thanks for hanging out, and we'll go to outro and go raid Moo. So catch you folks in the next stream. Have yourselves a good evening.